Tempers flared today as hundreds marched onto Parliament grounds demanding the Crown recognise Māori tikanga or custom in the treaty settlement process. As the Treaty Negotiations Minister Andrew Little stood stony-faced, flanked by fellow Māori MPs, a kaumātua angrily challenged him to mana korehi reporter Te Aniwa Huri Hanganui was there.
Despite grey and drizzly weather, about 600 people joined iwi leaders from the far north, Auckland and Tauranga to protest over the issue of Māori tikanga and overlapping treaty claims. It was clear that the hikoi was there to send a message, and tensions bubbled over when it was the Minister of Treaty Negotiations' turn to speak, with one kaumātua taking offence at Andrew Little's rhetoric.
No! Not here to listen to any bullshit. My kaumātua made me, not me! Not me!
Protesters were there to raise the importance of tikanga or Māori protocol in the treaty process. Iwi leader Charlie Tawhiao says for Māori it's not the size of the settlement or the amount of land they will receive, but maintaining who they are. He says the tikanga process allows everyone to express their views face to face, consider them and make a decision based on consensus. It typically takes place on a marae rather than in a courtroom.
The Waitangi Tribunal has made some rulings in terms of interests of iwi in different places. The Crown has subsequently interpreted those rulings about interests to mean hard rights. Is that approach by the Crown and by some iwi blurs out all the nuances of tikanga Māori that allow for relationships to have a whole spectrum and layers of interests.
The Deputy Chair of Auckland Hapu, Ngāti Whātua o Rākei, Ngārumu Blair, says an issue is the government's refusal to acknowledge the importance of tikanga in common law.
The Crown for 4 years now has blocked us access to the courts, so they've been striking us out in the High Court and the Court of Appeal. They're saying we can't even have the argument about tikanga being a part of common law and that tikanga being part of the process in terms of decision making and how they weigh interests. It's disappointing that this government's carrying on like the last one and blocking that access, and we know what happened last time with that in 2004.
The catalyst for today's hikoi was a Supreme Court hearing between Ngāti Whātua o Rākei and the Crown on an overlapping treaty claim issue. Ngāti Whātua o Rākei has already settled its claim with the Crown, but it's angry the Crown is now offering other iwi properties that it believes are within its tribal boundaries. Mr Blair says over the past 4 years treaty settlements have been rushed, meaning the issue of cross-claims hasn't been resolved. He says if the government doesn't get this right, it gives Māori fresh grounds for contemporary claims and damages.
We're joined in court with Ngāti Kuri and Ngaitirangi, Ngāti Kuri from the far north. Waikato Tainu, we've also sent a memorandum into court. Ngāti Manuhiri have supported. Basically every tribe on the border of Parehauraki is supporting us and this case because they're experiencing similar issues of overreach by the Hauraki tribes.
Labour MP Tamati Coffey tried to smooth the waters, assuring those present their message had been clear.
You come here to send a message, a very strong message, a very beautiful message too, that we as parliamentarians, as decision makers, when we make decisions, we should be taking tikanga Māori into our decision-making processes.
But Andrew Little said later that for tikanga to work, iwi need to resolve issues amongst themselves, although he did say that Labour is committed to facilitating those discussions. In Wellington for Checkpoint, Te Aniwa Huri Hanganui.